Hey everybody. Wow, this has been an amazing day. Um, I guess this would be Pennsylvania day two, perhaps. Anyway, so the highlights of my day. Um, I got up after a really decent night of rest. Um, I went ahead and stayed an extra night here because it made sense for me to stay another night here and then just head out in the morning to go to my next part of the trip than to just leave tonight and go drive the 3 hours that way and find a hotel there, motel there. Anyway, so highlights. Philadelphia is amazing, and granted, I only spent a few short hours. There's just so much there, so much to take in. Um, Philadelphia, you have an amazing city and an amazing sights, and I just wish I had. Oh man, I wish I had more time, but I didn't. I needed to get back here by 6 p.m. so I could hang out with my buddy Clyde, and so we hung out for a good 2.5 hours before he had to go do his thing. So, um, just a wonderful, incredible experience. So the first memorable thing going back to Philly from Morgantown was I opted to go a tollless route, which made it a longer drive, but it was a pretty drive. So there's some other clips that I did along the way where like I passed by a Land of Lakes dairy farm, and that was pretty cool. And just it just made me giggle. Land of Lakes. The the route that I went was very rural, very much of Pennsylvania heartland in the sense of it was very rural, a lot of farms and such, and so I got to see the beautiful countryside of Pennsylvania. And y'all have a beautiful state. You really do. It's an amazing state, and I don't know that I would want to live here, just because I'm very partial to Oregon and it's my home. It's been my home my whole life. I mean, we're going on almost 48 years here in like about 3 weeks. I'll be 48 3 weeks and some change. But you have a beautiful state, and I enjoyed so far. I have enjoyed visiting your state, and I'm truly grateful, blessed, and honored to have been able to see Philadelphia. And for me, it's very special because I'm an avid historian, and as such, I'm trying to get rid of it. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, there we go. Stick my fat head in front of the picture there. So, as an avid historian, um, I got to see where it all began, the roots, you know, where our nation had its founding, where the very fabric blueprint of our nation is in the U.S. Constitution. Mind you, I didn't go just because I was so pressed for time. I didn't go to get in line to go through the security checkpoint to go around the campus there of Constitutional Hall, but um, I did take some video. I took some pictures. There was a wedding party over at. There's a statue of the signer holding up the Declaration. Um, so that old town of Pennsylvania, or excuse me, Philadelphia, is amazing. I felt like I had almost gone back in time 240 years. Um, 247 years to be exact. Um, the cobblestone streets, there are still some streets that are like the original cobblestone, and there's like some big potholes right there at at the crosswalk there, that it's like, I mean, that could do a number on a car tire if they were going at any kind of speed. But I mean, the speed limit there is so, um, because of all the foot traffic and all that, it's, but I have always wanted to see the Liberty Bell since I was 12. I think 12. Yeah. Um, well, no, 11 maybe. 11, 12, somewhere in there. I got to see the Liberty Bell. I didn't get in line to go through the center there to actually go like up front and close to it. There was a window where you can actually look inside the building there, and you can see the bell. So I didn't see the crack side of it, but I did see a side of the Liberty Bell, and for me, that's been a long time coming. Again, since I was 11 or 12, I've always wanted to see the Liberty Bell, and now I got to check that off my bucket list. I got to go to Constitutional Hall. I walked around it a little bit, walked in front of it, took some video, took some pictures. There's a big statue of George Washington out front there because, he's the one who was our first president, and he's the one who won the Revolutionary War for us. I went to Ben Franklin's grave. Across the street was the Philadelphia Mint, and I snapped a picture of it real quick while I was driving away from Philly. Well, at least from that part of Philadelphia. So I was actually in central Philadelphia today. I would say that central Philadelphia is where all the historical landmarks are. But I also went to South Philly, and that was pretty cool to see that side of town. I actually illegally parked my car at a 7-Eleven, and I walked back to, I was told to go to Geno's and to go to Pat's for cheesesteaks, because they're like the two best places, and bar none, that's the place to go. I got Pat's. I meant to get Pat's and Geno's, but Geno's didn't. They didn't take my card because they were cash only, so I didn't get to experience Geno's this time around. Darn. But I walked the neighborhood to go get me a cheesesteak, and I got a true, honest to God cheesesteak. It's not called the Philly cheesesteak. I guess over there they don't call it the Philly cheesesteak. It's just a cheesesteak. And instead of actual provolone or cheddar or cheese or whatever, it's actually supposed to be made with Cheez Whiz. So that's what I got. I got it with the Cheez Whiz. And excuse me, I'm gonna burp or not. I don't know. Anyway, so I got to walk, and that was really cool because, I mean, you see in movies and TV about the burbs, right? How suburbs of East Coast cities like New York or and even the various different boroughs of New York, like Manhattan or Queens or Long Island, Yonkers, all those areas around there. You kind of see how they're kind of like narrow streets, and the homes are just stacked. Boom, 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 boom. I got to walk the city streets. I was like 5 or 6, 7 blocks, something like that. From where I parked my car at this 7-Eleven to where I went to go to Pat's to get my cheesesteak. But I walked through a neighborhood, and I really kind of got a sense of, wow, this is South Philly. This is it's a generic neighborhood in South Philadelphia, which could be any generic neighborhood in South Boston, or any one of the boroughs in New York, or anywhere else on the eastern seaboard for that matter. One of the things that I'm kind of taken away from the East Coast here is that it's definitely given me a better appreciation for the West Coast. and in the heartland, like I lived in Kentucky for almost a year, and the one thing is that we aren't fast paced there. I never felt this overwhelming sense or urge to be fast paced. It might be like that in Louisville, might be like that in Lexington, might be like that in some of the bigger cities, but in Litchfield and in Elizabethtown, I never really got that sense. Back home in Oregon, even in Portland, I've never got the sense that we were so strung, high strung. We're so fast paced. It's like if you're just wound tight, and that's kind of the impression I get with Philadelphia. It's the impression I got with New Jersey, uh, those areas of New Jersey, and I suspect New York's kind of the same way. Part of me really wanted to go to New York, but I just didn't want to pay those blasted tolls. And as it is, I'm going to be paying like almost $18 for the toll to get from New Jersey to Pennsylvania. I absolutely would have loved to have seen New York. I would have loved to have gone to Long Island, Setauket, especially, being a history nut in Revolutionary War. Washington spy ring was based out of Abraham Woodhull was one of his chief spies. The Washington spy ring was based out of Setauket, Long Island. So I would have loved to have gone there. Would love to have gone to the World Trade Center site and pay my respects to the fallen there, like I did so many years ago in Oklahoma City. It probably would have messed with my head. Not gonna lie, because Oklahoma City certainly did. Especially when I saw the little chairs. They had chairs representing the kids. They had big chairs for the adults and little chairs for the kids, and seeing all those little chairs really messed with my head that first night. And then I had to go back again a second day to kind of reconcile my feelings but yeah, it was a very surreal experience there, and I imagine New York's World Trade Center site would be the same. But I'm digressing. So Philadelphia was amazing. New Jersey was amazing. Going to see Ed was amazing. It was a checklist off the bucket list for sure, or a check off the bucket list for sure. Wonderful human being, amazing guy. I kept saying that he was a founder of the Rebel Legion, and he told me there was actually 12 of them. That he was just the last one to really leave. But his he's the one that kind of really gave it its shape, gave it its focus, gave it its not want to say that he gave it the charter, but he certainly gave it the sense of direction to how it was formulated and run, organized, I guess is the word I'm trying to say. He didn't want it to be a clone of the 501st, but to be, not to be their rival, but to be their equal. And I could certainly appreciate that with my own G.I. Joe club. G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero Costume Club. It's a mouthful, I know. That's why I refer to it as just ARA. Clyde is a member of ARA. He is a member of The Finest. And there was a time when we were their sister club, when they were Cobra only and we were Joe only. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not harping on anything that is it's not a negative thing, really. Love the guys in the Finest. Of course, I love my era folks too. I would love to see us work in tandem together more in the future, and to be on my part. I'll say this on my part. Era will always be a friend to the Finest, and I hope that they feel the same about us. So, and Clyde and I kind of discussed that somewhat tonight as well, and I just had a really good time uh, with having dinner with Clyde and discussing, you know, just life and club life and personal life and just personal relationships with, and how we cultivate these personal relationships with each other. And so I've had a great time. I absolutely loved Philadelphia. I went to the museum to validate having the cheaper parking price at the garage that I went to. But I did go into the museum for a little while, and so now I can say I'm cultured. No, I'm not. But I checked a few things out, and there's just so much to see. You cannot experience a big city like Philadelphia in just a few hours. You really, and like I was telling a friend of mine back home, um, a dear friend of mine back home, that Philadelphia is the kind of place where you need to probably spend a week to just see all the sights and to just take in everything. I mean, and if you're a history nut like I am, Philly is like Mecca. Seriously. Um, Philadelphia is like Mecca for a Muslim, like going to your roots, going to, the place of your birth or rebirth in this case. So, or in their case, regardless, the thing is, I enjoyed Philadelphia, and I can't thank you enough, Philadelphia, for just being you. I mean, you're amazing city, amazing sights to see. I did go to the Rocky Balboa statue and got hustled by a local, and like he got $6 off me because, well, he just like wouldn't take no for an answer. I gave him all the paper cash I had. He actually wanted all my pocket change too, and I just told him I didn't have any more, and that was it. And so um, I kind of saw it coming when everyone was lining up to go get their picture taken with um, the statue, and then like how they're kind of hustling, and there's like signs right there that says no solicitation, no vending. And so people just set up shop there, and it's almost like they just dare the cops to come mess with them, and yet the cops never do, because they didn't. There was some sort of a demonstration or something going on down the street there that I don't know what it was about. I wasn't there for that. It was probably some freedom rally or something. I don't know. This is, I mean, Philadelphia is it's the city where the foundation of our freedom took place. There it is. They say it's a city of brotherly love, um, and it's a fun city. Um, there's a lot of graffiti and a lot of stuff. Like I saw a van, parked in front of a side street, and it was graffiti tagged. Like they'll graffiti tag anything. And I'm not naive to that. I'm from Oregon, Oregon City, which we didn't really have a whole lot of that kind of. I mean, we were a smaller town, but I've been to Portland. I used to work in Portland, and graffiti. There's some of the dirt and the filth and all that there, and I think that's going to be anywhere. Any big town, any big city, any major city is going to have, those kind of issues. But the graffiti that I saw was more than I've ever seen in Portland. But it didn't surprise me, because I mean that's kind of the stigma, right? When you watch TV shows and movies that depict, some of these bigger, major metropolitan East Coast cities, I mean that is par for the course, right? So to reiterate what my nephew was saying in my post from last night, he said that New Jersey was a shithole, that New York was a shithole, but New York was one rung up. And perhaps maybe that's what he's referring to, is like the graffiti and the neighborhoods looking like, they're not they don't have window dressing, you know, um, like, like a department store has, curb appeal, right? They're just raw. They're real. They're at their roots as to who they are. I'm not disparaging them. I'm not just relaying what I saw. One person could say that it's dirty, it's filthy, it's ghetto, it's a shithole. Or we could just recognize that, this is daily life for them. And I'm not one to go turn my nose up at somebody else, I think I caught a lot of people off guard, in the sense that on the West Coast we tend to be more manner driven, that I've noticed anyway. People out this way, and I've heard this especially true in New York, that people don't go out of their way to open doors for others. People don't go out of their way to say thank you. People don't go out of their way to, just basic manners. We think nothing of that on the West Coast. This is how we are. At least in Oregon, that's how we are. I hold the door for anybody. It's not just for elderly or, an attractive woman. I'll hold the door for anybody. When I went back to my car after getting my cheesesteak, I put my cheesesteak in the car, and to legitimize why I parked there, right? See where I'm going with this? I actually went inside and bought, a couple drinks and a donut. And as I was walking in, there's this Asian gentleman behind me, and didn't even think anything of it, man. I just opened the door and just let him pass in, and he was like, "Oh, thank you." Like, I think it kind of caught him off guard because, people don't do that, And I'm trying to keep that glare out. There we go. People just don't do that. Maybe they don't do that here, or I don't know. It's definitely a different culture here, for sure. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I've enjoyed my time here, but I'm looking forward to going home. And I can't wait to see all my loved ones that will talk to me. I can't wait to see my friends. But I am enjoying this adventure. I say YOLO, you only live once. So while you're living, you might as well just make the best of it, right? So here, this is me. I could have just gone straight home, but then I would have missed out on the adventure of, experiencing new things and enjoying new things. And man, the historian in me just really, I was giddy. I was so giddy. Like, my mom texted me literally right after I saw the Liberty Bell, and she's like, "Philadelphia. Hey, isn't the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia?" And I'm like, "Yes, Mom," and I just saw it. And she's like, "Oh, it's cool." And I sent her a picture, so eventually she'll get to see it. But it's a side profile of it, but still, it's like I got to see the Liberty Bell. I got to see, where our humble roots as a nation started. Where those valiant men who wanted to create a free nation, a new nation where people are to have personal liberty, they're to have personal freedom, and to have seeing all those historical landmarks, where they had their meetings, where they signed the Declaration of Independence, where they ratified the Constitution, and where we became an established nation. That right there is, it's like the closest thing I can equate it to would be like a Muslim who goes home, who goes to Mecca, for their spiritual reawakening, rebirth. It's their connection to their identity. And I'm an American. I love being an American. And I make no apologies for being an American. I acknowledge all the good that America represents, and I acknowledge all the bad that America represents. Right? We're not a perfect union. We're not a perfect nation, and nobody ever will be. There will never be a perfect government. There will never be a perfect utopia. That's not until heaven. But what we have, or what we started out with, was the closest thing to we can get to it that is humanly possible. So, America can be great, but America can also be bad. I mean, I've seen the good. I've seen the good come out of us when we rally together behind a tragedy. And I've seen the worst in us when we are cutthroat with each other and just tear each other down, all because, you don't like a certain person who's in the White House. And, and I see it on both sides there, right? I could be that guy and say, hey, Sleepy Joe, this idiot, he's not my president. But, the fact of the matter is he is. You can argue semantics. Where do you think that he was legitimately elected or not? I happen to believe he was. I think he won fair and square. I think if there was election tampering, there always is, to some small form or another. But I think what it really comes down to is the candidate that I chose for president just simply, I think he took Joe Biden for granted and didn't take him seriously and just didn't campaign as aggressively as he should have. That's what I think. And I'm getting on a political trail, but the point is that, this is a great nation. And this is a nation that has such a capacity to love, to help, to, be that big brother that, fixes your car when it broke down, or to be the, the protector when, you're being, you're getting beaten up, in the schoolyard, the guy who actually, takes the schoolyard bully to task and puts him in his place. We have that capacity. We have that capacity for extreme good. And like any nation under the sun here, we have our dark moments too. All I can say is, I guess, America, do better. Be better. Just be better to each other. Be good to one another. In my last series, when I came out to Kentucky, I used to have this, I would sign off by saying, be good to yourselves and each other. And it's so true. We really need to do that. We really need to, take that shining example of that slogan that describes Philadelphia, right? The city of brotherly love, right? Well, we need to be having that with each other, no matter where you are in this nation. And not only with just ourselves within this nation, with our neighbors in other nations, with, our fellow man. That's, I guess I'm just in a place where I'm just very humbled and very blessed to have gone to Philadelphia. And it's been a very moving experience, and I'll never forget it. And that's going on a half hour here. That's that's my takeaway from Philadelphia. It was an amazing experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I would absolutely do it all over again, the same way. I would do it again to come here. For this past year, I've been wondering if whether or not I had made a mistake coming out to Kentucky, and I kept telling myself, "Oh, I made a big mistake. I should never come out here." But everything happens for a reason, right? And the reality is that had I never come out and lived in Kentucky for nearly a year, I probably never would have met Ed, met Clyde. I probably never would have taken that leap of faith and had the courage to go visit the East Coast. You know, to go visit New Jersey, to see New York. Well, I mean, I could kind of see it off from a distance, I think, but you know, to be so close to our nation's capital. I mean, again, I was like 62 miles from the capital, 67 miles from Baltimore. I think drove, you know, over the Delaware River where Washington, you know, made his epic crossing, you know, crossed the Mason-Dixon line, you know, drove through Valley Forge, drove through Gettysburg, you know, didn't stop at any of these places, and I'd love to come back again and see all those. But it's been such a wonderful experience. I just cannot put it into words what it means to me personally to see you know, these places of history that, you know, you read about them, or you know, you watch a documentary about them and you think, wow, what was it like back then, dot dot dot, you know, what was it like to be there, what would it be like to be there, and so on and so forth. And then to actually get to go there, and you know, like I've said before, you know, with history about me, you know, I love to see, taste, touch history, and to walk those hallowed grounds that our founding forefathers did, to potentially have been standing in the exact same spot that one of our founding fathers may have stood, you know, to see an epic thunder and lightning storm last night coming out this way and thinking, wow, is that what the storm looked like when Ben Franklin discovered electricity? You know, when he had the key tied to the kite, as the story goes. So, you know, these amazing things that it's been such an epic, amazing journey. And my journey coming out to Kentucky was amazing too. Like, it was, you know, I loved it, and I was bummed when it was over, and I'll be bummed again when I return to Oregon, and it too, that journey comes to an end. But while I'm journeying, I'm going to take in as much as I can, as best I can. Next stop for me is Western Pennsylvania, just east of Pittsburgh. I'm going to go see another friend there. After that, it's Columbus, to go to Fat Baxter's. It's a bar that happens to be owned by a Kennedy cousin of mine that I met in the Army. And after that, I'm going to go see my cousin that I have not seen since 1986. And she's in Illinois. And after that, I'll be going through Missouri to go see my buddy Thad again, to go visit President Truman's grave, to go to Jesse James' house, because I kind of want to see that. That's in St. Joseph, or outside of St. Joseph anyway. Time permitting, I would like to go to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and go see Lainey, because I'm super proud of her. I can't brag on her enough how proud I am. And then it's on to Nebraska. I said that it was Grand Island, my grandfather's hometown, but actually great-great-grandpa James is buried in Fullerton, and the cool thing about that is Fullerton is where my grandmother grew up. So I get to go to my grandmother's hometown, and I get to go, I'm going to try to find my great-great-grandfather's grave so I can pay my respects to my great-great-grandfather. James Kennedy. And then it's homeward bound from there. So any of you who are back home watching this, I'll be there soon. It's Sunday, and I believe the date is April 2nd. It's about probably close to 9 p.m. now, at any rate. So, like Virginia had asked me how long it was going to take for me to get home. Probably a week. Maybe a week and a half. I don't know. But if you all are watching, I know that I have like 16 subscribers, and I suspect most of you are from back home. I'm doing well. I'm feeling invigorated by this journey, and I almost want to think that Philadelphia was like a religious experience, but I mean, I wouldn't want to take it to that level, really, because it's nothing compares to the Lord above, really. I mean, nothing does. I have been thanking him daily. I have been glorifying him daily. I'm not the perfect example of what a Christian should be by any stretch of the imagination, but I have definitely felt being drawn closer to him lately, and that's a good thing for me anyway. Well, for anybody that really chooses to have that kind of relationship with the Heavenly Father. So it's been a great day, and my time here in Pennsylvania is almost up. I have another day, and then we go from there. So I think this is it, because I'm at 37 minutes. Wow. I just had a lot to say. I can't express enough. I mean, words just really don't describe how I feel towards the city of Philadelphia. It's been such an amazing experience to go to Philly, and as much as I hate to use the term someday, I do hope that I can come back one day. I don't know when. If I never do, at least I have this experience. But if I do, if I ever come back, there's a whole lot more that I want to see. There's a Philadelphia Zoo. I know that I always wanted to go to the Cincinnati Zoo, but I mean, I imagine a zoo is a zoo is a zoo. I don't know. I mean, I've been to the Washington Park Zoo in Portland, back home, so many times that it's like, I don't know if it really is that if you've been to one zoo, you've been to them all. I don't know, but I think the Philadelphia Zoo would be something cool to see, as well as there was so much more to see down there where I was today. There was so much more to see just around Constitutional Hall and the Liberty Center and the Constitution Center and all that. But there was also more to see around the Philadelphia Art Museum. Excuse me. There was a lot more to see around there. The Waterworks area, something I kind of glanced at, but I really didn't check it out. And there's a lot more to see. So anyone who's watching this and wants to go to Philadelphia to see the sights, there's quite a few sites right there. Geno's steak, cheesesteak, and Pat's. They're like right across the street from each other. I thought they were further apart, but they're actually literally right across the street from each other, like catty corner. And they're kind of spendy. I mean, like, my cheesesteak was like $15 and some change, and that was just the sandwich. Like, I didn't get any fries, I didn't get a drink or anything like that. It was just straight up from Pat's. It was straight up like $15. It was like 15. 34. So I don't remember. But, I mean, they're kind of spendy. Take cash. I mean, there's a couple of ATMs right there, but at the same time, it's like, why would you want to get dinged with an ATM fee unless you have that particular bank, which I think one of them was a Chase. Either rate, so much to see. So much to see, and if you have the gumption to do it, go do it. I mean, seriously. Philadelphia is it's very much a worthwhile place to go visit, just from the historical significance to it, to, just there's just a lot of cool stuff there. Just as I imagine New York probably has a lot of cool stuff. Boston probably has a lot of cool stuff to see. Detroit probably has a lot of cool stuff. Chicago, I mean, you always hear the horror stories about Chicago and how it's so dangerous there and blah, 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 blah. And they're not wrong. From what I hear, you're not wrong. But at the same time, there's a lot of historical stuff there too that, just like St. Louis or Louisville or Lexington. I mean, there's just so much to see in this country, and every aspect of this country has something unique that it brings to the table. I guess I'm close to a Daniel Boone homestead. I don't know if it's the Daniel Boone. I mean, I thought he was from Tennessee or Kentucky, but I mean, if he was from Pennsylvania, it's like it almost behooved me to go check that out. But at the same time, time-wise, I'm kind of like I really need to start moving west. So, again, maybe that's another day. Maybe, like I said, all the sights to see could probably take you a week. So who knows? Who knows what the future holds? All I know is that in the present and the here and now, I am content, and I am feeling blessed for having got to have the experience of seeing the wonder of Philadelphia. So that's my shout out to Philly and my love for it. One of my good friends back home, he's like a brother to me. Philadelphia Eagles are his favorite team. No, buddy, I did not go see your stadium, but this city is pretty special. It really is. And while there is no place like home, sometimes you come across a place that's just really special, and Philadelphia is that. So, wow, 43 minutes. I'm going to sign off now. And if you have bothered to sit through 43 minutes of me droning on and on, I commend you and congratulate you. Yeah, but such a cool place. If anyone has the gumption to come out this way, I think it's well worth going to visit. It's well worth, again, if you have any kind of an appreciation for history or a love of history or anything like that, then I think it would behoove you to come out this way and to come out to Philadelphia and really take in the historical sites and all its splendor, and just really get a grasp for connecting with our historical roots. And that's what I'm going to stop with there. Leave you on that high note. So that's it for me for now. That concludes this day in Pennsylvania. Tomorrow it is, I keep calling it South Park, but it's not. It's South Fork. So tomorrow is South Fork, Pennsylvania. And then after that, it's Ohio, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, and then straight home to Oregon. So with that, do be good to each other and yourselves, and happy trails, and I will talk to you very soon.